presenting yourselves a living sacrifice, part 2. This is Two Blind Crew. Yeah. Two Blind Crew. Two Blind Crew.
Daddy, what's wrong with you?
Presenting yourselves a living sacrifice, part 2 by Two Blind Crew. How do you do? I am Jeff.
And I know you. I'm Greg. How are you, buddy?
Good. Yeah, it is truly a part 2. We're wearing the same stuff we had in the last episode. Well, you'll still be sniffling. I'm still wiping my eyes. Woo! Allergy season is a beautiful thing. But we wanted to pick up where we left off, more or less, talking about presenting yourselves as a living sacrifice, straight out of Romans chapter 12. We mentioned last time that sacrifice isn't giving up something or being made less, that others or God would somehow, be the benefactor. It's literally from the Hebrew word korban, which means to draw near or to lift up. So we present ourselves as a living sacrifice that, yes, we share the gospel with our mouth, we make confession, but also we should be living a life that draws people to God. So that's kind of where we left off. And you had some thoughts you wanted to go beyond, Mr. Gregory.
Go beyond. Well,
by the way, I did the little Muppet thing when you did that sound. I started looking up back and forth, like, where's it coming from? Just in case.
I had to take a test. I don't know how I got into the Methodist ministry stuff as a pastor, because I had to take this test one time to get my license. It was a psychological exam, about 800 questions. So
clearly they grade on a bell curve, huh?
They had to have.
A Liberty Bell. It's cracked.
There was a guy sitting there. He really obviously didn't want to be there. He had reading his newspaper and had these little glasses on the end of his nose. And I got this one question. It says, do you ever hear voices and not know where they're coming from? And I looked at this guy and I said, do I answer that from a blind guy's perspective or somebody that has sight?
I hope that guy's not one of our subscribers, because we're going to see our subscriber count go down by one now because you brought that up.
No, it'd make him feel good. You're talking about him.
There you go.
Speaking of which, that's a great segue there. Do you suppose that a lot of people either, one, give offerings, and I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about serve in the local church, serve in a local mission field, because, how many of them do you suppose do it because that's the thing to do? Everybody's doing it. Go to the soup kitchen, or do you suppose that there's a situation that some churches guilt you into doing this stuff, doing the servanthood, and you just have to do it? I have to go and stand outside at the soup kitchen. I have to, when you use that word, I used to catch myself saying, I have to go to church. You don't have to. You want to, or you don't. So the serving thing is kind of like that as well, isn't it?
I think it's kind of an all of the above. Clearly, there's people that do it because they're at that point in their walk where, I have to serve, not because somebody's telling me, but because something inside of me is compelling me. Like I'm drawn to it. Again, the korban. I'm motivated to. I sincerely want to, in and of my own accord. So there's those people. But then I think there are people that maybe they're new in their walk and they don't know what they're supposed to do or how they're supposed to do it, so they see other people involved, so I guess I better do this. It's apparently the thing to do. So there's people that do it out of some sort of an obligation, maybe they think that they have, or others, it may be a peer pressure thing, and others, maybe the leadership, whether it's the pastor or an elder or a rabbi or a priest or whatever it is in your congregation, there may be some of that peer pressure.
Some of it's healthy, I think, maybe to take the fear out of going to do something out of your comfort zone. You're like, I don't really know about this, but I'll go if they're going. But I've always said you can't take a Bible and just beat somebody into submission when it comes to your walk in faith. But hey, what's that noise?
What's up? It's time for Random Blind Man.
Mama used to whip me with the George Jones album. That's why I sang this way. Woohoo!
You ain't right, dude.
I know. I love that song. It's actually a song. I'll try to remember the
It's
guy's name
actually
that wrote it, but
oh,
it's pretty funny. But it fit what we were talking about because
you
it's
got beat
just
with an album, a George Jones album specifically.
well, I probably should have.
I got beat
If
with whatever was handy at the moment.
yeah, I really should be a Bush by now. That's the number of times I got hit with a switch. So I don't know, but no, you can't. You just really can't force somebody into a thing of faith. It just doesn't work. And and in that text, I think you and I had talked earlier as well. I come from a recovery background, and as a recovery pastor, the biggest thing, and this I've always said how closely recovery principles and your walk in faith from start to end is they're so closely related. And I think there's a couple episodes there, but the biggest key is being willing to try, being willing to examine, being willing to open your heart, and then being willing to serve, and then after a while it becomes your true nature. It's just wild how that happens. If you find something you really enjoy doing, you'd be amazed. And it can be your work, it can be whatever you do for fun to play, anything.
When I was a kid, I think I was 18 when I first got saved, and maybe it was just because I could see better then. Wasn't great, but I could drive. I could, do most normal things fairly okay during daylight operation only. And I don't know. I was like into the landscaping thing. I love to cut grass. I was like that kind of weird kid, and even like hauled a lawnmower around in my back of my Chevy Citation as my landscaping business. And I will go ahead and make the air quotes there. But yeah, I volunteered at my church. I would go out there, and not just on work day, but would go out and cut grass on a whatever schedule, and did a fairly decent job, I guess. It probably wasn't the best that it ever got done, but I love doing it. So yeah, it could be something like that. It could be singing. I love to sing, but it's I don't think anybody loves hearing me. Let's just put it that way.
Well,
So there's desires God puts in your heart, and there's also giftings, and they're not always the same.
no, I'm with you on that. As far as music goes, I don't have much going on that. I like it a lot, but man, oh man, it's torturous for people. Maybe that's why when I was younger, I always played in bars so people could tolerate me. I don't know, but
Oh man.
it's amazing, the things that lead people to Christ.
Oh wait a minute. Don't all musicians play in bars?
Not
Oh, to
all.
get it, bars, measures. It's
Oh
ah,
my, holy moly!
I failed.
Mm,
I failed. I have
no,
failed you.
in bars, you're not right.
Well, that was funny. You just
It was funny.
coffee, didn't you? All right. Anyway,
It's really weird sometimes the things that you can do. Just being kind to somebody goes a long way sometimes. That maybe they haven't even had somebody be decent to them lately. Something like just buying somebody's food in the McDonald's line or in a restaurant and saying, just pay for their meal. And, if you get that urge, do it. Buy somebody's dinner in a restaurant and just don't say anything much about it. And
actually, if you see me or Greg in the restaurant, you go right ahead and pay that
that's what I was getting at, man. Yeah, we're okay with that. Like, wow, what a blessing.
Whew.
Oh, man.
We should
But
try that.
no,
You and I should set a date and time that we're going to be at Outback, ordering the filet.
ooh,
Who shows up to pay? We may be there a while though.
probably would.
Nobody showed up. Didn't work.
Place is empty. How are we getting home?
Yeah,
We just need a ride getting there. So, see, there's another opportunity for you to do ministry. Drive the blind guy around.
there you go. Well, we do enough
Bless our
driving.
good friends.
We do enough driving our wives crazy, driving our friends crazy.
Yes, we do.
A lot of drive. Hey, speaking of crazy, I'm going to show my nerddom here. This is a ham radio centric joke, but did you hear about the two antennas on the roof?
No.
And they recently got married, and the ceremony was terrible, but the reception was great.
Oh, God.
Reception? Come on.
Jeff. That's about as dumb as that song I just sang.
Well, you
It's
gotta
so much fun though.
you gotta spread.
Well, see, being well, I don't
What are we talking about?
know. Getting beat into
Oh, are you threatening
submission,
me now?
huh?
You sound like my dad. You threatening me now?
Uh,
Gonna get beat?
oh boy. I just, I hope that we all can. I guess the trick is thinking and praying and being still once in a while and doing what me and you have a big problem with is just shut up and listen to God tell you. Uh, open up some scriptures, open up your heart, and you know, before you know it, you're living into some of the sacrificial living stuff, and it takes time, so you can't really expect it to happen instantly. But I think the whole thing, like you said, being willing to do it is takes the fear out of it.
That's right. Again, I seem to be stuck on Exodus chapter 25 for quite a while here, but that's the first 8 verses where God's taken up the offering for the tabernacle in the wilderness. There, as it told Moses. He told Moses. I was going to say it says, anyway, but he told Moses to take up an offering, a terumah, from those who are willing, those of a willing heart. So, it might be a dangerous thing. A lot of pastors in leadership aren't going to like to hear it, but if you're not doing stuff with a willing heart, it's better not to do it. You're not fooling
Yeah.
God. You're not fooling anybody. And if you're not willing to serve, it's beyond the money and financial thing. If you're not willing to participate in a particular ministry, just don't do it. Don't. It's best for you. It's best for the flow of the Holy Spirit and doing things for the kingdom. Just don't do it. And pray
Yeah.
God will lead you to what you are intended to do and what is motivating and exciting to you that you will want to participate. Would you
Well,
agree
that's
with that
that's
statement?
that's exactly that is true because if something's uncomfortable, if you don't want to do it if you're going to be crabby and cranky and complaining the entire time like I do. But if normally whenever I feel some discomfort or pain in any situation, normally it's a sign that there's something wrong, and you just need to sit down and evaluate that. So yeah, if you don't feel like it, if you don't want to do it, don't. But at least keep your heart open for suggestions, so to speak, because pretty soon the door will open and you'll find exactly what you're purposed for. And I had people when I was doing a volunteers ministry coordinator at a church. The lady was working in the nursery and just like, God, I'm doing this, but I hate it. I'm miserable. I don't get to be with my husband. He's doing something else, and I wish we could find something to serve together. And I feel really bad about asking. I'm like, no, it's wonderful.
Right.
Be honest about your feelings. If you're doing something in a local church that's just really ragging you, talk to the pastor or somebody that's there, or a coordinator if you're working in a ministry out in town, and say, is there what else do you think that I could do, because I just don't feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And you'd be amazed. I think people would rather hear that than see you miserable, because that's if you're miserable, it's going to be visible in what you do. So
Yeah,
it's
that's a good point. And also, I want to clarify too that what we're saying is not encouraging you to not participate and to have an excuse. Well, I'm not feeling it, so I'm not participating. No, that's not what we're saying.
this is the disclaimer part
Yeah,
right
this is
there.
a disclaimer. Well, because sometimes,
We're not saying that you can't kind of if you want to come in
well,
at
yeah, yeah, 'cause
5%.
sometimes God will stretch you. That stepping outside of the comfort zone may be uncomfortable. Because something's uncomfortable doesn't mean you're not called to do it, or that you should stay home, or that you should not participate. But what we're saying is, if you get involved and you're just hating it, and there's nothing, your heart is as far from that as anything. Then like Greg suggested, don't just quit. Don't just walk away. Talk to your pastor. Talk to your church leadership or the ministry leadership, and say, hey, listen, this is how I feel. This isn't really seeming to be my thing. What do you think? What do you see as my giftings? This is what I think I'm interested in, or maybe you might not have any interest in anything. Maybe you're one of those people, and maybe that church leader sees something in you that you don't. And yeah, try stuff.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised. I mean, you're gonna have something. God's called all of us to be active members. Having a disability, not an excuse. Having whatever, just very little training, not an excuse. Get the training. There's something for everybody. We're all part of the body, and a body that is healthy is a body that is active.
Exactly. And even if you think it's a small thing. I mean, so many times I would just sit and call people on the phone and say, "Hey, how's it going today?" And I was real comfortable with that, especially when I first lost my sight. I didn't feel real comfortable trying to wait on tables or do certain things. It was dangerous. You didn't want me pouring your coffee.
No, sir.
So there's those things that but just calling somebody on the phone and saying, "How are you? You need anything? Can I get something for you?" That means more to some people. You wouldn't think it does, but basically, dig around and seek out opportunities to serve. And it's all about being in community, being one body. So,
And speaking of community, if you're not already part of this community, we invite you right now to go ahead, click the subscribe button, join us, jump on in, and don't just be an observer only. Get involved. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Two Blind Crew. Put a comment down at the bottom. Get interactive with it. And if you are able, if you go to Gmail account, go ahead and subscribe.
subscribe.
Have we mentioned subscribe? I think they should subscribe.
Yeah, and share.
And if you don't have a Gmail account, I don't know, a couple blind guys figured out how to do it. You do it too. Just go ahead and create one, even if you never use it, just so you can subscribe and like, because we like that.
And also, let us know what we need. Maybe we need to shut up, but maybe
20
we
more
need
milligrams, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we need a lot of stuff.
Medication.
We got emails as well that you can contact us if you'd like to talk about something on a one-to-one basis. Man, we'd love the opportunity. I'm Greg at twoblindcrew.com.
I'll give you a wild guess. I'm Jeff at Two Blind Crew.
Yeah.
.com.
Drop us a note.
E flat.
We'd love to hear from you. Well, that would work. The next song will be in E flat, and we'll let Jeff sing it.
That's what
Well, thank y'all for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. This has been fun.
God bless y'all. See you next time.
Bye now.